Good morning. So today we will discuss direct torque control of induction motor. So regarding direct torque control, first of all, direct torque control of induction motor. What are the advantages of induction motor? That is very well known. Induction motor is robust, reliable, low cost motor and requires very little maintenance. Hence, induction motor is the main choice for all the drives in industry, commercial and residential applications. However, induction motor performance and speed control features are not very good in ordinary induction motor. So, to improve the steady state and transient performance of induction motor, new control techniques have been developed over last 4 decades. In general, induction motor can be controlled in open loop mode or closed loop mode technique. The control techniques can be scalar control or vector control scheme. So, we have already discussed about scalar control and vector control of induction motor. Now, we are going to discuss direct torque control. It is a scalar control technique. So, it does not require unit vector in vector, which is required in vector control. Vector control, the synthesis of the unit vector is very crucial, and the unit vector synthesis and reference frame transformations makes the vector control more complex and requires so it becomes a complicated drive. However, direct torque control does not require unit vector, and hence it is very simple and it is a scalar control technique, but it can give performance same as they are similar to vector control. The main aim of direct torque control is to effectively control the torque and flux, and DTC can give accurate speed control and fast torque and speed response, though yet it is a simple control technique, does not have the complexity of control like vector control. So, basic features of direct torque controls are like this. Direct torque control is also known as direct torque and flux control DTFC or direct self control DSC, DTC, these are different names. The basic principle of direct torque control is to directly select the stator voltage vector according to the torque error and flux error. Estimation of stator flux and torque is required for closed loop flux and torque control, and as it is a scalar control, generation of unit vector is not required, but its performance is comparable to that of vector control or sometimes better than vector control. The main idea of DTC is to drive the induction motor directly from the torque and flux errors without using current control loop and coordinate transformation or unit vector as it was done in vector control. Flux and torque controllers are mostly hysteresis band type, whose outputs are used to determine the inverter switching state that should be applied to the motor, so that flux and torque errors remain within the prescribed hysteresis band and good response is obtained. Speed and torque response are obtained. So, why DTC is preferred over vector control? These are the points. Though direct torque control is a scalar control technique, it provides the advantages of vector control. Its performance is either similar or better than vector control. Direct torque control, direct control of flux and torque is obtained. It gives indirect control of stator current and voltages, and there is no coordinate reference frame transformations. Requirement to know only the sector in which the stator flux space vector is positioned rather than the exact position of it. There is absence of current controllers, only sensitive to variation to stator resistance, and stator flux space distribution is approximately sinusoidal, and fast dynamic response is obtained. These are the advantages of DTC over vector control. So, the schematic diagram of a DTC is shown in this figure. So, this is the induction motor. Induction motor fed from the voltage source inverter, and voltage source inverter have the switching signals SA, SB, SC. So, SA, SB, SC each can be 0 or 1. If SA1 is, if suppose SA is 1, that means limb corresponding to phase A, upper switch is on, bottom switch is off. When SA is 0, bottom switch is on, that means 4 is on and 1 is off. Similarly for SB and SC. And the switching signals SA, SB, SC are generated from a switching table, and how it generates we will discuss. First of all, induction motor, stator voltages and currents are taken feedback, and from these stator voltage and current feedback, the flux phi alpha s flux linkage and phi beta s are estimated. Phi beta s is integral of V beta s minus R s I beta s dt over T. So similarly phi alpha s is obtained, and so once phi alpha s and phi beta s are estimated from sensed voltages and currents, the stator flux phi s is given by square root of phi alpha s square plus phi beta s square, and angle theta of the flux is tan inverse of psi beta s minus psi alpha s, and torque is estimated by this expression 3p by 4 psi alpha s into I beta s minus I beta s into alpha s. So torque and flux estimator block estimates the torque, flux and its angle theta from sensed voltages and currents. Then we have the reference torque T star, then from that actual estimated torque T is subtracted and we get the error in torque ETE. The error in torque goes through a hysteresis, this is the hysteresis band, hysteresis controller, and torque hysteresis controller is a 3-level hysteresis controller. 3-level hysteresis controller means it has value +1, 0, -1. +1 means torque is to be increased, -1 means torque is to be decreased, and 0 means no change. So accordingly we get HTE. HTE can be 1, 0 or -1. 3-level hysteresis controller output is obtained. And we have a flux reference phi inverse phi star reference flux, then the estimated flux phi is subtracted from that, and we get error in the flux E psi s, and it goes through a 2-level hysteresis controller. For the flux we have a 2-level hysteresis controller. So that means the output of the hysteresis controller H psi can be 1 or 0. If it is this is 1 and this is 0. So if H psi equal to 1, then the flux is to be increased. If it is 0, flux is to be decreased. So these are the inputs to the switching table. We have the input H psi, that means flux to be increased or decreased. Then we have input HTE, 1, 0 or -1, torque to be increased or decreased or no change. Then from the this flux estimation block we have the angle theta and the sector in which sector SK in which flux is located. From this information, a switching table generates the switching signals SA, SB, SC. Each can be 1, 0, 1 or 0. So this is the schematic diagram of the director control drive, simplest director control drive. So let us go to the analytical development of DTC. So first, electromagnetic torque of induction motor is given by equation 1, 3/2 into pole pairs into flux linkage psi s cross IS. Psi s is the stator flux linkage and IS is the stator current. So cross product of psi s into IS into 3p/4. Psi s is the stator flux linkage. It has two rectangular coordinates. So in terms of that, psi s means psi beta s minus j psi alpha s, and stator current also is a phasor which has two rectangular components I beta and I beta alpha s. So accordingly, stator current is I beta s minus j I alpha s as given in equation 2. In equation 1, the stator current IS is to be eliminated and rotor flux linkage phi r to be used in equation 1. So for that we do this analysis. So the stator and rotor flux linkage psi s and psi r are expressed like this. Stator flux linkage is LS into IS plus ALM into IR, stator self flux plus mutual flux from the rotor, and rotor flux linkage psi r is self flux of the rotor LR into IR plus ALM into IS, mutual flux from the stator. These are the equations 3 and 4. From equations 3 and 4, if we eliminate IS and we want to eliminate IS, so we express IS in terms of flux linkage, stator flux linkage phi s and phi r, rotor flux phi r. So we get equation number 5, and in equation 5 this ALS dash is the stator leakage inductance, which is stator leakage inductance is sigma into LS. Sigma is the leakage coefficient, which is given by sigma is the leakage coefficient 1 minus LM square by LS into LR. So that sigma LS is LS minus LM square by LR, that we are denoting as LS dash. So substituting equation 5, that is expression of IS, in equation 1 we have 3 by 2 into pole pairs. Then we have first term we have psi s cross psi s, it is 0. Psi s cross psi s is 0, cross product is 0. And then second term we have psi s cross minus psi r. So minus psi r, because of the negative sign the order is reversed. So minus sign is taken out and we change the order, that is psi r cross psi s, and 3 by 2 pole pairs into Lm by Lr into Ls dash. You have the torque expression. So electromagnetic torque from equation 6 is written as 3 by 2 into pole pairs into Lm by Lr into Ls dash into magnitude of the flux phi r, magnitude of the stator flux phi s, and sine of gamma. Gamma is the angle between the stator flux linkage and rotor flux linkage. Gamma is the angle. So now if the rotor flux remains constant and stator flux varies incrementally, and how can you vary the stator flux incrementally? By applying a voltage, because we know that stator flux, the voltage is given by Vs, that is vector is Rs into Is plus d phi s by dt. This is the equation in reference frame. So if stator first term in the right hand side is the stator resistance drop, it is neglected because resistance drop is very small part of the stator voltage. If we neglect that, we have Vs stator voltage is nearly equal to d phi s by dt. So we have delta phi s vector is Vs vector into delta t. So if we apply a voltage, say in this direction, at a moment Vs phasor is in this direction, and we apply it for a duration delta t, then this is the Vs phasor into delta t is the delta phi s vector. So start with this, we have the figure 2, that is the vector representation of torque and flux linkage control. The horizontal axis is beta, the vertical axis downward is alpha, and we have the rotor flux linkage phi r we have here, and stator flux linkage phi s is here, and gamma is the angle between phi r and phi s. As I have indicated, if we apply stator voltage Vs in a particular direction for a duration delta t, then flux linkage is given by delta phi s into delta t. So this is the flux linkage delta phi s, flux change in the flux linkage, which is obtained due to applying a stator voltage phasor in that direction for a time delta t. With that application of Vs, the stator flux linkage changes to phi s plus delta phi s, and angle gamma changes to from gamma to gamma plus delta gamma. Angle gamma changes, and Is is the stator current phasor, and we have with this the electromagnetic torque changes from equation 7. We get after change in flux linkage, the electromagnetic torque is Te plus delta Te, which is 3 by 2 into pole pairs into Lm by Lr into Ls dash into magnitude of the rotor flux. Magnitude of the stator flux is now phi, magnitude of phi s plus delta phi s into sine gamma between stator and rotor flux is now phi plus gamma plus delta gamma, sine of gamma plus delta gamma. This is the equation 8 after the flux changes by delta phi s and angle gamma changes by delta gamma due to application of the stator voltage vector. Due to large rotor time constant, the rotor flux changes slowly. If stator flux is changed precisely by proper stator voltage selection, gamma changes with stator flux and torque also changes due to both stator flux and gamma. This equation 8 is very crucial for stator direct torque control of the induction motor. So as you see from induction motor, as you from equation 8, phi r has not changed. Phi r changes very slowly because of the rotor time constant, and when stator flux changes by amount delta phi s due to and angle gamma changes to delta gamma due to application, both due to application of the stator voltage, then torque changes due to application of the stator due to change in the stator flux linkage and change in angle gamma. So these two plays the important role in torque control and flux control of induction motor drive in DTC scheme. So let us see how the flux can be controlled through voltage phasor selection, direct flux control through voltage phasor selection. This equation 9 I have already mentioned. The stator voltage equation is given by the applied voltage Vs is the resistance drop Rs Is into d phi s by dt, change in flux linkage. This is in stationary reference frame, and the stator resistance drop is negligible. So if we neglect that, we have the delta phi s vector is Vs vector into delta t. So flux change is in same direction as Vs. Vs is the voltage vector, which may be any of the 6 active space positions or may be 0 voltage vector. For example, we have 3 phases, let us say phase A, phase B, phase C. Okay, then it is possible the switching states can be 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, then 1, 1, 1, other one is 0, 0, 0. So these are 8 possible states: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 switching states. So first switching state indicates in phase C, in phase A, S4 is on, phase B, so let us number 1, 3, 5, 4, 6, 2. In phase B, bottom switch is on, and phase C, top switch is on. That means 5 is on, 2 is off. So in that case, we get a particular voltage. So let us say particular voltage, and so 1, 2, 6. These are the 6 active voltage phasors. 6 active voltage vectors or phasors. So which we can show it like this. So this is V1, V2, V3, V4, V5 and V6. 6 active voltage vectors are V1 to V6. These are corresponding to first 6 switching states from 1 to 6. So you see, from 1 to 6 each switching state is different. Each switching state is different from others. So total cycle is 360 degree. So there will be 6 voltage phasors each corresponding to one switching state from 1 to 6, and they are 60 degree apart, phase apart. So if V1 is particularly given by like this, let us say V1 is 1 0 0. V1 is like this, then V2 will be 60 degree apart, and all are 60 degree apart from each other. V1 to V6 are the 6 active voltage vectors which are 60 degree phase apart from each other. Magnitude is same. Then phase 7, switching state 7, that is 1 1 1. That, sorry. 1 1 1, that means top 3 switches are on, bottom 3 switches are 0. This corresponds to B7, and this is a 0 voltage vector because top 3 switches are on. The DC was upper side is shorted, bottom side is open, so there is no voltage at the output. Similarly, if the switching state is 0 0 0, that means top 3 switches are off and bottom switches are on, then also output voltage is 0, so this is a 0 voltage V0. So there are 6 active voltage vectors V1 to V6 and 2 0 voltage vectors V0 and V7. So the total 8 switching states. So this is the switching state corresponding to different voltage outputs. So now there are 6 active voltage vectors corresponding to first 6 switching states, and V1 to V6 are the voltage vectors. These are 60 degree apart, and which switching state corresponds to which phasor, voltage phasor or vector, that you can relate through analysis. So each has the same identical voltage magnitude, but phase apart from other voltage switching states. So like that. And 1 1 1 is V7, that is 0 voltage output voltage, and 0 0 0 is V0, 0 output voltage. So the stator flux is divided into 6 sectors as shown in figure 3. In this figure, this is the flux plane. So we have sector 1, this is the sector 1, which is 60 degree duration, and at its center we have the voltage V1. Then we have sector 2, 60 degree, at its center we have the voltage V2, and sector 3 4 5 6, and each sector at the center there is the voltage V1, corresponding voltage phasor. So in this case, the stator flux is forced to track the reference value within a hysteresis band. So this middle circle with dotted line, it is the reference flux linkage trajectory. You can say, because in induction motor the flux linkage magnitude is constant, but it rotates at the synchronous speed. So its path is given by the circle of the center one. Reference value magnitude is given by the radius of the circle, and it is rotating in that circular trajectory. So that is the trajectory of the stator flux linkage middle one reference value, and outer one is corresponding to hysteresis band. So this is the hysteresis band. The flux should not exceed the upper limit, and lower one is also another hysteresis band, and the flux should not fall below the lower limit. So total hysteresis band is 2 HB phi, and we have the flux linkage should be always confined within this limit, upper and lower limit. This is the upper limit, this is the lower limit. Flux linkage is all the time should be confined to within that upper and lower limit, and it should rotate so that we get induction mode rotation. For example, at a particular moment. Suppose flux linkage is given by this tip of this phasor. So we want it to rotate in motor in the counterclockwise rotation. So because it is at the top now, flux linkage, we have applied voltage is such that flux linkage is at the top of the outer circle. So we apply V3. So if we apply V3, so there will be delta psi 3, delta phi 3 in the same direction as the V3. So we have V3 into delta 1 as we have indicated. So it keeps on moving, it moves forward, but when it touches again the upper limit, it should not be it should not decrease further. So at that moment when it touches that point of outer circle, again another voltage is applied. Which voltage? Let us apply V4. We apply V4. So we have V4 into delta T is the delta psi 4. So we apply, after you apply, V4 is obtained, which is in same direction as V4, delta psi 4. And again when it touches the lower limit, again V3 is applied, and there will be flux change in the direction of V3. So it change flux in the process, flux linkage keeps on moving. So initially it was in this position, constantly it is moving in the counterclockwise direction. So motor rotates in the counterclockwise rotation. And when it after applying V3 for a time duration delta 3, when it touches the upper limit, again V4 is applied, and we have flux linkage V4 into delta T4 in the direction of V4. When it touches in the upper limit, again we change. So this process continues, so that the flux continues to rotate for the direction of motor rotation, and flux is confined within the hysteresis band. It does not exceed the upper limit or does not fall below the lower limit. So this is how flux linkage is controlled. So another point important here, each sector has different set of voltages to increase or decrease the flux. In general, active forward voltage vectors Vsk plus 1 and Vsk plus 2 are applied to increase or decrease the flux, stator flux respectively. When the stator flux lies in sector K, the active reverse voltage vectors Vsk minus 1 and K minus 2 are used to increase and decrease the stator flux in reverse direction. This is important. If the stator flux lies in sector K and we apply Vsk plus 1, that means sector K, and we have applied the next voltage vector Vsk plus 1, the stator flux increases. And if we apply K plus 2, that means next to next, then the stator flux decreases, but both in forward direction. Hence it is active. These are the active forward voltage vectors. Forward direction, the stator flux rotates in the forward direction. And when the stator flux is in sector K and we apply Vsk minus 1 and Vsk minus 2, the flux moves in the opposite direction. The stator flux moves in the opposite direction, and there is the stator flux increases in the reverse direction. And if it is K minus 1, flux increases, and if it is K minus 2, it decreases. Let us understand with phasor diagram. So let us say this is alpha axis, this is beta axis. At a particular moment, flux linkage is given by phi in this direction. Okay, so tip of the, we want to move forward or backward or increase or decrease. So let us draw the voltages. So this is the direction of V1, V2 V3, V4 and V5, and at this moment, as I have shown, the stator flux phi s is in sector 1. This is in sector 1. So we have sector K means generalized sector, and it is 1. K is 1. Sector K is 1. The stator flux is in sector 1. So as you can see, if we apply V1, then the stator flux magnitude will increase. As you can see, if we apply V1 for a certain duration, the magnitude of the stator flux linkage will increase. If we apply V2, that means Vs K plus 1, or say simply Vk plus 1, which is V2, stator voltage V2. If we apply V2, you can see these are corresponding to into time delta t, V1 into delta t, V2 into delta t, V3 into delta t, V4 into delta t, V5 into delta t. So these are flux linkages. So as you can see, if we apply V2 for a time duration delta t, so this is the flux change delta phi 2, and the resultant flux is phi and delta phi. The flux increases. If we in the sector 1, if we apply K plus 1, flux linkage phi s increases and rotates in counterclockwise direction. So as a convention, we can take counterclockwise rotation to be forward rotation, so that clockwise rotation becomes reverse rotation. So you see, if we apply Vk plus 1, that means K plus 1 is 2, the flux increases and it rotates in the clockwise direction. If we apply V3 for a time duration delta 3, so that delta phi 3 is given by this, then you can see magnitude of the flux linkage decreases. So if we apply V K plus 2, V K plus 2 is K is 1, so V K plus 2 is V3. If we apply V K plus 2, then flux linkage phi s decreases. As you see, the magnitude of the flux linkage decreases, but it rotates fast in counterclockwise direction. Rotates fast in the counterclockwise direction. So that means in both the cases, delta gamma, you can say gamma increases, angle gamma increases, and second case also gamma increases fast. Okay. Similarly, you can say if we apply Vk minus 1, K minus 1 means previous one. So K is 1 here, so Vk minus 1 is V6, not V0. The flux linkage is in sector 1. Before sector 1, you see, let us draw a circular path. We have 1 here, 2 here, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So it is a circle. So before 1 we have 6. So K minus, if K is 1, then K minus 1 is 6. K minus 2 is 5. Okay. and if and k minus 3 is 4, and suppose k is 6, let us say another case k is 6, then k plus 1 is 1, because 6 next is 1, k plus 1 means 1 increment, and k plus 2 is 2, k plus 3 is 3. Suppose k is 5, then k plus 1 is 6, but k plus 2 is 1 and k plus 3 is 2. So 5, so like this is how we apply our logic. So in the same logic, suppose if we apply Vk minus 1, stator flux is in this figure, stator flux is in sector 1, we apply Vk minus 1 means 6, we apply V6, and as you can see, okay, so in this figure I have made it. So let us draw it again here. V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. So this is the center, and this is flux linkage psi s. So if we apply V6, as you have noted here, k minus 1, then flux decreases. This is the delta psi, so flux decreases, and again it rotates in the opposite direction, the clockwise direction. So if you, no, flux linkage increases. Flux linkage increases, but gamma decreases, and Vk minus 1 for k equal to 1 is V5, and if we apply V5, then flux linkage decreases, as you can see in this figure, and gamma decreases fast because it is rotating in the opposite direction, so angle gamma decreases. So as you have seen in equation 8, flux linkage, the torque, electromagnetic torque is dependent on flux linkage and gamma. So if both flux linkage and gamma both increase, then torque increases. If flux and gamma both decrease, torque decreases. Then if flux decreases but gamma increases, then torque increases. If gamma decreases, even though flux increases, the torque decreases. So that means the angle gamma has a dominant role in increase or decrease of the torque. So when we apply forward voltage vectors, then the angle gamma increases. When we apply reverse voltage vectors, gamma decreases. If gamma decreases, if the flux decreases, torque will decrease obviously. When the gamma decreases, even if the flux increases, the torque decreases because gamma dominates when we apply reverse voltage vectors. When we apply forward voltage vectors, torque always increase. Even if flux decreases, torque increases because gamma increases, so gamma has a deciding role. So that is the main main logic to decide which voltage vector to be selected. So, flux control in the hysteresis band, the flux has to be always confined within the hysteresis band. It should not exceed the upper limit, or it should not follow below the lower limit. So, estimated stator flux error is fed to the hysteresis controller, which produces the output 1 or 0. So, the stator flux is to be increased or decreased, then H phi, if the stator flux is to be increased, then H phi equal to 1, if the stator flux is to be decreased, H phi is 0. For example, this is the horizontal axis, this is 1, this is 0. So, this is the hysteresis, twice the hysteresis band, twice the hysteresis band for the flux. So, if this stator flux phi s magnitude is less than the reference magnitude minus delta phi s, that means it is less than the lower limit. Phi s reference is the reference flux linkage, minus the hysteresis band is this delta psi s. So, this right hand side is the lower limit of the flux linkage. If the flux linkage magnitude is less than or equal to the lower limit, then H phi equal to 1, that means flux to be increased. Second case, if the magnitude of the stator flux linkage phi s is greater than reference magnitude plus delta phi s, that is the hysteresis band. So, total in the right hand side is the upper limit. If the stator flux magnitude is more than or equal to the upper limit value, then it should not increase, it should be decreased. So, H phi equal to 1, that means flux to be decreased. So, as you can see in this this is the two level hysteresis band controller for the flux. So, suppose the flux is increasing, at this point we are increasing the flux. At this point the flux becomes the error, this is the magnitude of the flux hits the upper limit, it moves to 1. That means, no, at this point when we are increasing, so it goes to upper limit. So, then it has to decrease. So because flux value is the above the upper limit, flux decreases. So, if, as you have mentioned in this condition, if flux second condition, at this point flux is the magnitude has gone to the upper limit, this is the upper limit, this is the phi axis. So, phi axis, so when it exceeds or equal to the upper limit, the flux to be decreased. So, we apply, so it is decreasing, we apply the voltage vector, so that flux decreases, and flux decreases to the lower limit, and when the lower limit, we to increase the flux, we apply, set H phi equal to 1, and flux increases, and when it reaches the upper limit, again it is set to 0. So, this is how it is done. So with that, let us see the waveform of the flux. So first, this is the stator flux phi s. Suppose this is the reference value. This dotted line is phi s reference value. Okay. So at this point, time t equal to 0. Suppose it is below the reference value. If it is below the reference value, we apply 1. If we apply 1, it increases linearly and reaches the upper limit. This is upper limit. This is the delta phi s. So when at this point, when it reaches the upper limit, so again phi s is made. This is the flux error h phi, top h phi. H phi is 1, so flux was increasing. When flux reaches the upper limit, it is set to 0. So when we set to 0, flux decreases. When it falls below the lower limit, near the lower limit, again it is h phi. First condition has to be applied. H phi has to be set to 1, so that flux should again increase. Again 1. So again flux increases like that. So this is the flux, and this is the upper limit, and this is the lower limit. This is the lower limit, this is the upper limit of the flux. So flux is confined within the hysteresis band. If we see the flux error in the flux linkage E phi s. So at time t equal to 0, error is positive and maximum, this is 0, and here it reduces to negative, and at this point again it increases like that. So error in flux linkage, here it is delta phi s, here it is minus delta phi s. So flux linkage error is like this. So accordingly, so depending upon the flux linkage error E psi s, if no, let us write define E phi s first. E phi s is the error in the flux linkage, that is phi s reference value minus phi s. This is the error value. If E phi s is less than 0, means what? Phi s is greater than phi s reference. If phi s is greater than reference value, then E phi s is less than 0. Because phi s is greater than the reference value, then the flux should be decreased. Because it is more than the reference value, the flux should be decreased. That means h phi equal to 0. H phi is set to 0, flux is to be decreased. If E phi s is greater than 0, if E phi, from E phi expression if you see, second condition E phi s is greater than 0 means phi s is less than phi s reference. Because flux is less than reference value, flux should be increased, so that means H phi equals to 1. H phi equal to 1, flux to be increased. Accordingly, H phi has two levels, 1 or 0, flux should be increased or decreased depending upon the error. So now we want to control both torque and flux through this voltage vector selection. So if the flux vector lies in sector K and we apply Vs K plus 1, if we apply Vs K plus 1, flux linkage psi s is in sector K. So what K can be 1 to 6, anyone from 1 to 6. If we apply Vs K plus 1 or Vk plus 1, so what happens? The flux phi s increases, and also because it is a forward voltage vector, K plus 1 is a forward voltage vector, angle gamma increases. Because both flux linkage increases and gamma increases, torque also increases. Because both increase, so torque increases. In that case, if we apply Vk plus 2, K plus 2 is a forward voltage vector, so gamma increases fast. Because it is a forward voltage vector K plus 2, gamma increases fast, but flux decreases, stator flux phi s decreases. As we have already discussed, if we apply K plus 2, flux linkage decreases, but gamma increases fast, so torque increases fast. Torque increases. And reverse voltage vectors are K minus 1 and K minus 2. If we apply Vk minus 1, then first thing, stator flux magnitude increases, but it rotates in the reverse direction, so angle gamma decreases. Because gamma has the dominant role, torque decreases. And if we apply Vk minus 2, the flux linkage decreases, as also gamma decreases because of reverse rotation, so torque decreases because both decrease. So this is what in the second line. So this is the main logic on which the voltage selector table is designed. So a lookup table is made for the switching purpose, and that the optimum voltage vector selection is given for all sectors of the stator flux plane. The table is based on the logic which you have discussed, the stator flux error status, torque error status, sector selection of the flux, and clockwise or counterclockwise rotation of the shaft. For the clockwise rotation the table is different, for counterclockwise rotation the table is different. This is the logic in the flux controller, flux hysteresis controller. H psi can be 1 or 0. If H psi equal to 1, then the flux is to be increased. If H psi equal to 0, flux is to be decreased, because error is like that. In the torque hysteresis controller, which has 3 levels, so HT1 means torque to be increased, because error is positive, and if error is negative, then torque to be decreased. That means torque is more than the reference value, and if it is 0, there is no change. So accordingly, we have a generalized table. First, in table 1, variation of flux and torque. So suppose flux is in sector K. Okay, flux is in sector K. So for counterclockwise rotation, if we apply K plus 1, because it is a forward voltage vector, gamma increases and flux increases, so flux and torque both increase, so we apply K plus 1. If we apply K minus 1, then flux increases but gamma decreases, so torque decreases. If we apply K plus 2, torque increases because it is a forward voltage vector but flux reduces. Similarly, if we apply K minus 2, both flux and torque decrease. Similarly, for clockwise rotation, that means reverse rotation, for clockwise rotation, if we apply K minus 1, then flux increases and gamma increases, so torque increase. And for clockwise rotation, K plus 1 becomes a reverse voltage. So when you apply K plus 1, gamma decreases but flux increases. So we have flux increases and torque decreases. Torque also decreases because gamma decreases. So for clockwise rotation, if we apply K minus 2, the flux reduces but gamma increases because K minus 2 it is active forward voltage vector. K minus 2 gamma increases, but for K minus 2 flux decreases. So because gamma increases, torque increases. Similarly, we apply K plus 2. If we apply K plus 2, gamma reduces as well as flux reduces, so torque reduces. Gamma reduces, flux reduces, so torque reduces. So these are the logic generalized. This is the table 1 is the generalized table based on which a specific table can be made. So for counterclockwise rotation we have table 2, and for clockwise rotation we have table 3. So in table 2 for counterclockwise rotation, the flux H phi means flux to be increased, H phi means flux to be decreased. First, whether flux to be increased means 1, decreased means 0. For flux to be increased, we can be HTE, torque to be increased, HTE minus 1 means torque to be decreased, 0 means no change in torque. So for first row, flux to be increased and torque to be increased. So first we have to apply K plus 1, K plus 1. So S1 means K is 1, we apply V2. S2 means sector 2, flux is in sector 2, so K is 2, we apply K, 2 plus 1 is V3. S3 means flux is in sector 3, K is 3, K plus 1 is 4, we apply V4. Similarly, if minus 1, torque is HT is minus 1, flux to be increased but torque to be decreased. Torque to be decreased, so what do we do? We apply flux to be increased. So we apply K minus 1. So 1 K minus 1 is for sector 1 it is V6, for sector 2 it is sector V1, for sector 3 it is V2, and so on. And similarly second part, so flux H phi is 0, that means flux to be decreased. So flux to be decreased, HTE is 1, torque to be decreased. If the torque to be decreased, torque to be increased, flux to be decreased and torque to be increased. So we apply K plus 2, sector 1 means V3, sector 2 means V4, sector 3 means V5. And flux H phi is 1, flux to be decreased, HT is minus 1, torque to be decreased, both to be decreased. So we apply K minus 2. So for sector 1, K minus 2 is V5, for sector 2, K minus 1 is V6, K minus 2 is V6, and for sector 3 it is V1. And when HT is 0, that means no change in torque. So in that case we select 0 voltage vector V0 or V7 as required. Similarly, in the same logic for clockwise rotation, table 3 is obtained. So this is the simulation model of the conventional DTC which we have discussed. So this is the PWM inverter feeding the asynchronous machine, and this is the buffer, and we have from this we take VABC measurement, and IABC measurement, and other 3 lines we feed to the motor, and also the input is the pulse to the PWM inverter. which is obtained from the control logic. Then from the motor shaft we take the speed measurement. So this is the speed measurement. So now this here we have the measurement block. So we have IABC feedback from the motor. Here we have taken IABC feedback and VABC feedback. So VABC and IABC are taken. Then ABC to alpha beta reference frame transformation is done, so that we get V beta, V alpha, I beta, I alpha. We generate, and these are the inputs to the motor model. Motor model once gets V beta, V alpha, I beta, I alpha, it estimates the flux phi beta and phi alpha and the torque and the magnitude of the flux. It estimates. And then we have the speed controller. This is the reference speed. No, this is the speed feedback. Speed feedback obtained from the speed sensor mounted on the shaft. This is the speed reference. Both are compared, and the speed error gives the torque reference. Torque reference. Then we have the actual torque estimation here from the motor model, and both are compared and goes to a hysteresis torque. And according to torque error, we have HTE, and HTE go to the torque hysteresis controller and for motor control, HTE is generated. And similarly, we have the flux estimation from the motor model. We have the flux feedback and the flux reference, and that gives the flux reference flux error status. So H phi is the input to the switching. This is the switching vector selector. This is the voltage selector, switching voltage selector table. So this is the status HTE, that means torque to be increased or decreased or not changed. This is the flux H phi, flux to be increased or decreased. Then we have flux alpha, flux beta components, and this gives the sector information K. This is the K information, sector K information. From the switching table, the pulses are generated, and accordingly it goes to the PWM inverter. And we have the measurements also. Waveforms you can see, flux, TE, and speed waveforms you can see in a scope. So this is the simulation diagram from which we get the simulation results. First we have the speed response. When we have given a step change in 500 RPM, we get a speed response like this. This is only typical. And when we change the load torque, initially at 0.5 second, first part is for the starting from 0 to 0.5 second, and 0.5 second load torque of 10 Newton meter is applied, and you see this is the torque response. And here we have the flux reference. The actual flux magnitude is constant. So at the time transient it develops and remains constant with a little bit of ripple. And when you plot it in XY plot, the component, the phi alpha component and phi beta component, we plot alpha in a XY plot. The flux, it is a circular path because flux rotates. For counterclockwise rotation, the XY plot will rotate like this, circular part. And the three-phase current waveforms are, stator current waveforms are shown. So these are the simulation results. Thank you for attention.